Good morning, NBA Nation. This is the morning tip off on Spreaker for November 12th, 2015. I'm your host, Danny Thompson, coming to you live this morning on Spreaker. Humongous and busy night in the association last night. Last night was basically the coming home night for some players. We had some outstanding finishes in other games, some controversial finishes, and some all around great performances. So, for the next 60 minutes, we're going to catch you back up what you missed last night and talk about the three games that are on the schedule tonight. And so, if you want to check in with us, 407 378 3717. Wow. Let's start out with the game that people have been talking about since the Emoji War had broke out way back in the summertime. DeAndre Jordan, the Dallas Mavericks, the LA Clippers. They've already played once, but last night was in Dallas. So this game was a little bit more special than others. Jordan was booed mercifully throughout the entire game. Mark Cuban had pretty much said he's going to expose the text messages, but really, when it got down to the court, Dirk Nowitzki was Dirk Nowitzki. 31 points, 11 rebounds, and a vintage Dirk Nowitzki performance. The Mavericks took care of business 118-108, and really, if the Mavs don't win any games the rest of the season, they got this one. Basically, their free agent signings, Wesley Matthews, 25 points, 6 rebounds, looked completely healthy. The best he's looked since before he tore the Achilles back in Portland. He was hitting shots. Zaza Pachulia, double-double. Darren Williams wasn't huge with numbers, but he controlled the game very well. And the Mavericks just gave their best effort. Now, the Clippers side of things, 21 points, 9 rebounds from Blake Griffin. Chris Paul struggled from the floor, 11 points, 11 assists, but 2 of 11 from the floor. Really, this game was all about the Mavericks figuring out how to win somehow for their owner. The Mavericks, they've been off to a medium-sized start basically because of the fact that Parsons is healthy. Matt's coming off a huge injury. Darren Williams, your starting point guard, is coming to a new system. And Zaza Pachulia, they brought in Dwight Powell, who's been a really big surprise. You know, the Mavericks aren't exactly the most talented team, but they're also at the same time pretty new together. And so we're only like 9, 10 games into the season, but Dallas last night showed what they can do. I mean, you get a good game like that from Dirk. He can't do it every night, but there's going to be kind of the same thing with Kobe, a lot of the older guys, Tim Duncan. You're going to have these games, and as long as you have those, especially in signature moments, it's going to happen. You got to give credit to Rick Carlisle. They pushed the tempo, they kept moving, and really, an emotional game. This was the game that the Mavericks need. Now, can it turn the season around? It can happen. It really can happen because you have to understand, emotions can take the best of you. And when emotions are in play, you play your best basketball. And it happens, that sometimes it doesn't, but a lot of times it does inspire people to be more inclined to play their best basketball. So you got to give the Mavs a lot of credit for what they did. And going forward, could this be, a signature win, a statement win, especially in early November? Because really, in the NBA, you got to have statement wins early, and the Clippers are the team that a lot of people think, including our co-host Paul Myers on Full Court Press Radio, is that the Clippers are a championship team. But for one night, the Mavericks went out and really they played vintage Dallas basketball. Like I said, everybody was having a good night. They had contributions from pretty much everybody, and you have to give credit where credit's due. So the Mavericks took care of that one. Speaking of teams playing emotionally last night, what a day in Sacramento. Reports come out, you know, George Karl was cursed out by DeMarcus Cousins. Karl wanted to suspend Cousins. Vlade Divac said, no, you can't do that. Cousins is frustrated. The team is 1-7. Injuries galore. No Darren Collins. Boogie's been out for a few games. But last night, emotions took control. DeMarcus Cousins, 33 points, 9 rebounds. Rajon Rondo, his second triple-double of the season, 14 points, 11 rebounds, 15 assists. And finally, a Rudy Gay sighting. Yes, I said a Rudy Gay sighting. And for that, he has this. Finally, Rudy Gay did something. 25.6 rebounds, 10 of 14 shooting, led the Kings to a very simple 102-91 victory over the Detroit Pistons last night in Sacramento. Look, the Kings have been through a rough week, especially the last rough 24 hours. A rough start for George Karl. The team had a team and players only meeting where I guess everything was let out, and the Kings played their best first half of the season last night, and it carried over into the second half. Boogie was just Boogie. There's a reason why he's one of the most talented players in the NBA, and for my opinion, a top 5 talent. There's no if, ands, or buts about it. It's just that the maturity level of DeMarcus Cousins is what comes into question. But on the court, there might not be more of a talented player other than Anthony Davis, Kevin Durant, Russell Westbrook, LeBron James in the NBA. If he just harnessed that talent, it's going to be something. But so many blowups with coaches, so many different issues with Cousins and coaches and management. And really, you know, I don't know if George Karl was the right hire, but this was 8 months ago, and we really can't go back and change time. But Karl is 64 years old. I know he doesn't want to deal with this. So let's just hope that the emotion of that meeting, the emotion of that let out by Cousins, will translate into further wins going down the road. The Kings have a game on Friday night against the Nets in Sacramento. We'll see if that emotional outburst, like with Dallas, can change the Kings' streak around. Remember, this time last year, Mike Malone was fired right after, the new GM who did hire him was like, I'm not understanding this. I'm not feeling this guy. Found issues. Malone was gone. It was Boogie's main guy. Boogie loved Mike Malone, and he wanted it to work, but it just so happened the GM didn't see his way. And really, the GM was sent right out the door after George Karl. So we're going through the same thing of way. And really, the Kings haven't been a playoff team in 10 years. So if you look at it going forward in Sacramento, if it doesn't work, there's got to be trade partners everywhere. I mean, there's always talking to the Boston Celtics. If the Celtics are willing to move the unprotected number 1 pick from the Brooklyn Nets, if the the Celtics start talking that unprotected number 1, as bad as Brooklyn is, you could be looking at a top 5 pick. You know, top 5 pick, throw some players in, throw some additional draft picks because Boston has a ton of them, and it could be like the Godfather offer, something you really can't, turn down. On the Pistons last night, they're starting to struggle. That quick start is starting to fade away. They got beaten by Golden State. They should have lost in Portland, and last night get beaten by Sacramento. This West Coast trip has not been good for the Pistons. Last night, Andre Drummond, another double, 14 and 17 rebounds. Reggie Jackson, 5-14 floor, 16 points. Really, Piston fans were so excited about the start. Now, even at 5-3, I don't think they're expected to be this good this soon. But be honest, the Pistons, I said from the beginning, were about the 10th or the 11th best team in the Eastern Conference. I didn't think they were a playoff team. Even with Brandon James coming back in a few weeks, they're still not a playoff team. There's just some things in Detroit that don't click for me. I still think Indiana, Boston, Orlando are still the Pistons. Just being honest, they're better teams. They're better stacked. They have better players around. In Detroit, you have a franchise player in Drummond. I agree. Reggie Jackson, he's good. He's solid. He's solid. I mean, he's not worth 80 million, but he's solid. KCP is still growing at the 2 guard position. Ilyasova, he's a solid power forward next to Drummond because he's a stretch 4, but Ilyasova has not shown the consistency to be a starting power forward going forward. And really, Marcus Morris, even though he's had a great start, we all know it's just a placeholder until Stanley Johnson comes in and starts playing full time. The guy I really want to see is Johnson, but also this team is still missing Jody Meeks. They're still missing, Brandon Jennings. I want to see those guys get in the system and get the flow once they start getting healthy. The Pistons are solid, but kind of like fool's gold in Detroit. Let's see how they are in a month. But I don't think this hot start lasts much longer. I think they're starting to cool out, and this West Coast trip will show the Pistons for who they really are as a decent team, but not a playoff team. Speaking of teams, I said that we're better than the Pistons, the Orlando Magic. The Magic, it was an interesting game at Amway last night. Magic win 101-99 over the Los Angeles Lakers. Nick Vucevic, a 18-foot fadeaway at the buzzer over Roy Hibbert, explodes Amway, and gets the Magic a victory. The Magic lose Victor Oladipo to a concussion. Now his status for Friday's game in Utah is undetermined in the air. He'll have all his tests in the next day or so. Has to pass protocol. I'm thinking with the Magic with back-to-back on Friday and Saturday, he could be held out against Utah on Friday and play Saturday. You got to be careful with these guys and concussions because you just want to be with the wait and see approach last night in general. Shabazz Napier for the Magic, 22 points, 5 3-pointers off the bench. Shabazz looked like he was back at UConn. The reason why supposedly LeBron James wanted to draft him in Miami. But the Magic got contributions from everybody. Now Vucevic is 18 and 5. We're off the bench because Skiles didn't want to start Vooch last night, so they started Dwayne Dedmon instead, the lineup they were using. They didn't get much from Tobias Harris shooting the ball wise. He did contribute to rebounds. Evan Fournier 16 and 6, but really it was the play of Shabazz Napier and Channing Frye, who had I think 14 off the bench, were the keys to the Magic really win this game. Napier was just hitting shots. There were 5 and 9 from the 3-point line, and really his shots falling, Channing Frye's shots falling, helped the Magic because the Magic didn't have Oladipo, no Jason Smith. For the Lakers, we all know Kobe was out. If you go on our YouTube page, yes, look up Full Court Press Media on YouTube. We do have Kobe Bryant talking about the back injury and where it came from, how long it goes a little more in detail into the back injury as well as some other things with the team's thoughts on the game last night. Also on FullCourtPressRadio.com, videos from last night. Roy Hibbert, Julius Randle, as well as D'Angelo Russell, Metta World Peace. We have Byron Scott, Scott Skiles, Vucevic, Fournier, all from last night, Shabazz Napier. So we're having all that video being added. Also, check out the video section from Friday night's game. We also have words from DeMar DeRozan, Kyle Lowry, as well as the other players from the Raptors, Jonas Valanciunas, Dwayne Casey. We have so much video going up. As far as the games this week, I will not be at the Utah game on Friday, but I plan to be at Minnesota on Wednesday. So I will try to sit down with Andrew Wiggins, Karl-Anthony Towns, and the young pups. It's been a while. Gonna get a chance to get engaged on these guys. So 407-378-3717. Last one, Lakers last night. D'Angelo Russell, 14 points, 6 rebounds last night. Julius Randle, 12 points, 8 rebounds, including a huge tip-in in the fourth quarter. But the game was really an interesting part. Lakers had the ball down the stretch. D'Angelo Russell had the ball. He didn't want the shot. Passed up to Williams. Williams tried to do something. Ball hit side of the backboard. Hibbert puts it back in, but the shot